Hello guys, and welcome to a new WARNO video today by me, Vulcan. In this video I have for you a 2 versus 2 on Ripple, and I'm going to be using the K.d.a. Bezirk Erfurt, which is a division that I actually really enjoy playing a lot. It has a lot of focus on infantry, especially these K.d.a. Schützen, and it has to find sort of inventive ways to break down enemy armor. Let's just quickly go through what I've got here at the start. So we've got a couple of these Spetsnaz over here that are going to be heading towards this tree line. I was hoping to get them in there so that I could cover the reinforcing roads coming up here and also down here, because they can use this road to reinforce over this hill. Ripple's actually a really cool map in that respect. You've got like these roads that go over through the hills, but the game's going to get underway. We've got the Spetsnaz on the right hand side here. I'm going to have one just covering the top side of this town, and then one that's going to be able to like sneak through this tree line. I'm going to be trying to get it towards this road. Just nice ambushing forces. Got a bunch of troops down here, a couple extra Spetsnaz on the OSA AKM. The normal Spetsnaz squads have better AT weapons than the Spetsnaz Gross, so that's why I'm heading a couple of these into this town. Also helps defend Delena. Over on the left, I've got my UAZs with the HGMs on them. Not going to say the name of them because I don't want to get demonetized. We got these Spetsnaz, we got the K.d.a. Schützen, we got the Pioneers with the flamethrowers, and the Spetsnaz there on the left as well. We've got a couple of these flat SFLs, well, 3 of them at the start. They're super strong, really nice anti-air units. So I wanted to bring this game to you guys just because it was a pretty awesome game, but it also gave me a good opportunity to show off corrected shot, which is now in the game. So in the game now, what happens when you use Recon is it will provide you with corrected shot within 2,000 meters of that Recon unit. And that may get changed in the future, that's just how it is now. But basically, I'm going to be trying to use that as much as possible in this game with sort of towed artillery, which is something that I hadn't really tried much before this game. My SBW 152s, they both got destroyed here with my K.d.a. Schützen. We're going to be unloading into the LRS. The defensive bonus these guys get in this building forced me to bring in a HE bomber, so that's what I'm going to be doing. The MiG-21 BIS is going to be on its way, but Flat SFL has found line of sight onto these Black Hawks as they come up. Check out the effects, very cool. One of the Black Hawks struggling really badly there. MiG-21 comes in, bombs the LRS squad. Second Flat SFL gets on target, and that's going to be Black Hawk down. First one goes down. Second one goes down. Third one goes down. And the fourth one here going to be following swiftly. So that's a lot of points for my opponent to lose. And he's going to fly over his Wild Weasel over the top of all of these flat SFLs and get it shot down as well. That was a Seed aircraft. But these flat SFLs, they don't have radar, so he can't target them. So loads of damage done here, and I managed to get both of my Spetsnaz into position early on. We've cleaned out the LRS in the middle of this zone, so I'm very happy with how this has started. So just going to be solidifying my positions here. You can see I'm giving the sell orders to my trucks, and they're going to be heading back to the edge of the map to get sold. No one not caring about the roadworks whatsoever. How rude. Went straight through the sign. I'm going to be trying to get that Spetsnaz to where I wanted it before. These Spetsnaz were in a really good position, but unfortunately got spotted a little bit early there by the Bradleys and got destroyed. The Bradleys have pretty damn good HGMs, or sorry, autocannons. So the autocannons can wipe infantry squads very quickly, particularly when they has a lot of them, and there was like 2 or 3 there that I had to deal with. So my flat SFL is really not in as good a position as they were, so I'm going to be starting to move them away from the road, hoping that I don't bump into them. I've also got these UAZs now moving up into more advantageous positions, because I realised that my opponent really just had nothing here. But it does bring up a Kiowa, and he's going to be trying to use that to pop the UAZ. First one misses. Imagine being this guy. Just trying to drive for your life right now. That one gonna hit the mark. Alright, here comes the Fireteam Dragons. So these Fireteam Dragons probably dropped off by the M2A1 Bradleys. Just check how much damage these do against infantry. Especially with the machine gun firing away as well there. But lucky for me, the Dragons can't fire that close. HGMs now have minimum ranges, so you can really use that to your advantage, particularly if you have like an armored vehicle and you're up against infantry that's relying on the HGM as its AT. That was like a really nice bombing strike, because I managed to bomb the Bradley, and then I shift ordered the MiG-21 to strafe the Kiowa, and Kiowas don't have much health, so I was able to shoot that down really easily. I'm also finding the Fireteam Dragons here, and again, we're going to be absolutely annihilating them at close range. Really working out quite well, but we are currently losing. I haven't put command into Gregory here or Elena, so our opponent's currently at a +2 since they are holding on to Anna on the right hand side. But flat SFL finally going to go down. My other flat SFL doesn't have any ammo left, and the Bradley is going to catch up to it. Bushmaster at close range doing tons of damage. Brought in these T62s to deal with those Bradleys, so that's what they're here for. I did purposefully stop them in this position, mainly so they were covered from the HGMs, because the Bradleys also have TOW 2s, of course, and not close enough to be within the minimum range, so the T62s will lose that engagement. Now, what's funny nowadays is like a T62 in this case at close range would always win in a forest against a Bradley, but before a Bradley would always win because it could use its HGM, but now they can't. So that is definitely something you can use to your advantage. But Pioneer Fiora finally going to be coming in to capture this sector. Just going to have to be a bit careful about where I put it, but my plan was really just to get it into one of these 3 buildings so it had some decent cover. And I've also got the supply vehicle coming up. That was to resupply the flat SFL, but of course the flat SFL died. But I've got a pretty good position on the left-hand side. Going to just be making sure I move up as much as I can with the Pioneers. And I'm going to make a little bit of a play to get across the open here. See if we can get to this forest. Because if we can get here, and I can get my K.d.a shoots on either side of this road, then the reinforcements that are going to be coming in from here will get ambushed on the way up, which will hopefully give us some favourable engagements. I've also got the UAZ now coming in for Elena, so we're going to be able to counteract the +2 that our opponents have got. But here comes my towed artillery starting to set up the 122mm howitzers, all brought in with the MTLBs. They're ready and waiting to fire away. My OSA AKM did go down here. I believe I moved it up to try and get into range of the Cobra, but then the Ito here, I managed to snipe it hidden behind this bush here. But it's going to be the first target of my artillery. I was waiting until I had like at least 5 of these in order to fire. You can see their corrected shot with the white line. So the helicopters provide corrected shot. The Spetsnaz here, for example, providing corrected shot. And over here, like the Ito, we don't have corrected shot on it, but I've still got enough artillery that I should be able to hit the mark and kill that off. So MI8 having to fall back from the Bradley, going to have to pull the MI2 away as well. Spetsnaz currently engaging the LRS and getting the better of them. This last man standing, trying his best with his Colt Commando, but it's not going to be enough. The Spetsnaz with their AS Vals getting the job done. Now here come the MiGs. Nice couple of bombing strikes. One of them unfortunately gets shot down really quickly due to some man-pads. But decent engagement, and that's going to allow my T-62s to charge forwards because the Bradleys have fallen back into cover. So I'm going to try and make ground as much as I can for the time being. So we see the Stinger here, and I'm going to be trying to kill it off with the Spetsnaz. The Stinger actually has better range with the M16 than my Spetsnaz do, so I'm going to have to try and catch up to that and take it out if I can. Dragon team causing issues, so we're going to bring over the Mi-8TB. One thing I have started doing a lot lately is like these rocket runs with aircraft. Like if you just kind of like right click over the unit that you want to attack, the rockets will generally be the right level to fire as you're moving, and you can really take advantage of that. Move forwards to TCC2 there, pretty close actually engagement. Managed to get the shot off, going to fall it back and hopefully get it repaired. So I've dealt with the Bradleys in here that I know of, so I'm going to be doing a sweep with the Mi-2 and the Mi-8TB to try and find enemy forces. I've also got my Spetsnaz here that are ready to ambush the road if anything comes up, just hopefully not a recon vehicle. I'm also going to be looking for the enemy command here in the center because we don't want them to hold Constantine. It is a 2-point sector. So what I'm planning to do is get my Mi-2 to spot the enemy command, and then we're going to hit it with corrected shot because the Mi-2 provides that corrected shot as well. So if I select the Mi-2 or the 122s here, you can see that the corrected shot is just over the edge here. And I thought that this was maybe the command vehicle on top of the engineers there. Turns out that it probably wasn't, since that's just 2 units of engineers that we can see. But I am going to take the opportunity to bomb the Ito and take that out, because those Itos, they're quite valuable. Eventually we do identify exactly what the CV is. MiG-21 trying to evacuate through the valley there, but gets hit by an a man-pad again. I also lost my Mi-8 there as well to that man-pad, but here comes the artillery. And it's not getting away, so we will be able to cancel out that lead that they had. And we're back to 50-50 on the old Tickaroos. So 543 points, they're still ahead by quite a ways. But that's okay. We have plenty of time on our hands. I've also got plenty of artillery. So the more artillery we build up, like the more this will pay off over time. That's kind of what I'm counting on right now. Going to be moving up the Mi-2 so I can get corrected shot. And that way the engineers take more damage. Because the idea is basically that corrected shot increases or decreases the dispersion of your artillery. It doesn't necessarily make them aim faster like it used to in Steel Division WD-44, at least not at the moment. I would think it'd be good if it could do that though. The F-111E comes in to bomb my Spetsnaz. I managed to dodge it, which was really nice. A big old bombing strike though. Very nasty. Flat SFL. Nearly shooting it down as it flies over as well. We're going to be spotting that unit opposite. The 122s firing away once again. Very cool when one of these fire. I really like the sound effects. And up and over. And smashing that target. No chance. And this is really what you need when you want to use corrected shot like this. Having like an absolute saturation on your target is really, really nice. I'm also going to be bringing in a Smirch. This thing has a cluster, 6 penetration per shot into the top armor, so it can do like 2 damage per hit to an M1A1, since they have 4 top armor. But it's going to be better against like more medium armor, and also particularly nice against light armored support weapons like AA, so something like a Chaparral or like a Gepard or something. That's what the Smirch is really nice for. We're having a bit of a hard time here. Bandit Unknown is kind of flying around with his helicopter and spotting and finding my Spetsnaz based on like previous information from where I fired on, and that's kind of caused me a little bit of an issue because I'm having to constantly move them, and that's kind of like my main recon. So without like my Spetsnaz in position, you can see these arrow rifles have managed to sneak past, and they're going to get right up in the face of my UAZs. I don't really have anything in position to counter that right now. F111E coming in with a bombing strike once again, managed to move the opposite direction and dodge it. Meanwhile, artillery coming in here on the engineers, doing a lot of damage. Managed just to kill one of the engineers, looking to kill the second one. When they get low on health, you just want to make sure you try and finish units off, because in WARNO you can use a supply vehicle to fully heal your tanks and also obviously fully replenish your infantry squads. So destroying units once and for all is definitely a priority. But the LRS is going to get flamed out there by the Pioneers. HGM's just going to put a little bit of pressure onto the M1A1s in the meantime. But we haven't seen any M1A1HAs, which was nice. I think if we had M1A1HAs to worry about, then it would have been a bit of a different story. But T-62 with its machine gun does end up shooting down the Black Hawk there, which is great. We're going to have Jagd here on the right hand side also using his artillery. These are the big 152mm. And they're going to be targeting that M1A1 again. Jagd's kind of in the same boat as me, where he doesn't really have very good armor to deal with the enemy Abrams directly, because we're up against like 2/3 US, which is really quite scary. Anyway, with Anna being captured, there's probably only one place that he can really have something, since we have the Razvedki here. So I'm going to be firing at the back of this tree line. Jagd's already started firing, so he's going to be moving out the way preemptively, as he probably saw the shots incoming. I was also firing, and look how look at this rain of fire coming in on the backside of that. It's incredible. This is now 8 of these 122mm. Going to be targeting the command over there, but he's going to be pulling it out, which is what we need. Just want to get that +1 tick in so we can try and make back some ground, because we're already like almost 20 minutes in, just like halfway through the match. Only 23 minutes and 20 seconds remaining, so we got to make moves here and make sure that they can't stay in these sectors with these commands in the center, like the neutral sectors. Like, we're getting our main bonus at the moment from holding Gregory, which I'm still somehow managing to hold on to. A lot of my units are damaged or out of ammo on this left hand side, which isn't good. I'm slowly but surely reinforcing with a few extra units. So I've got the Spetsnaz here, I've got the K.d.a Schützen further back, we got the 2 flat SFLs further up with the T-62. But yeah, I definitely needed more like K.d.a Schützen in here or something, just to kind of hold that if I could. I opt to go for some counter battery. Here goes the Smirch. Let's just listen to this beast fire. That's going to be hitting the artillery over here, hopefully. At least that's what I was going for. Jagd was also trying to counter battery as well. Admittedly, this wasn't really like the best play. Like, a lot of those missiles are going to be, or rockets, sorry, are going to be wasted, because after I fire like the first few, they're likely to move. Like, you can see they've moved down and they're already firing from here instead, so this is probably not hitting anything. But yeah, I'm happy to just kind of sit here for the meantime. Just need to keep an eye on this right hand side. Well, is like moving in his command backwards and forwards. At 122s of Jagd under fire, getting counter batteried pretty hard. His 152s also took a beating. They're going to be moving as well. The issue that Jagd's having here is that his artillery is towed like mine, whereas our opponent's is most likely like M109s, which are like the armored and also mechanized, so yeah, it's kind of difficult. But nice rockets there are going to be taking out my flat SFLs. Both of them have gone down there. My T-62 also died. And as my MI2 comes up to try and help out with the Recon, I spot a ton of aero rifles behind my lines. So this is really not good. I'm going to have to unload my K.d.a Schützen. I managed to click unload, get out just in time, still lose some men. But the best response here is really just bringing in some helicopters, because these aero rifles are pretty unsupported. Like, yeah, they're going to be okay for kind of catching out my troops, but we're just going to bring in a MiG that's going to bomb one of the aero rifles. And then I'm going to bring in an MI8 MT. This is the one with the Gatling gun, so it's going to be good fun. MI2, MI8. Just going to go around and hunt down these arrow rifles behind my line so I don't have to worry about them anymore. Artillery going to be having a go at my UAZs. Going to have to make sure I move those. Meanwhile, Phantom 2 comes in, shoots down my MI2 again. And my opponent shooting down the MI2s is actually pretty important because I was reliant on them quite a lot for corrected shot, particularly in the middle of the map where it's quite open. Anyways, keep an eye on this MI8 as it demolishes arrow rifles. I already took out one. On the left hand side there, another MI2 gets hit, this time by an Eagle, but we managed to shoot it down. Here we go, arrow rifles. I really love listening to the Gatling cannon firing away. It's so cool. So that's the last one that I know of. And the flat SFL's going to be moving up into position now. Wild Weasel coming overhead. Going to be turning off my OSA AKM so it doesn't get hit. But this flat SFL, absolute hero, somehow manages to shoot that down on its own. Incredible hits. So I've now set up my supply. You can see the Mi-26 here. Going to be providing a lot of the resupply. This I think has 6,000 supply on its own, and I've also got a T813 here that's providing supply to the surrounding 122s. I did kind of have a bit of a lack of supply for this sort of play, honestly, since I was using a lot of these Urals further up to resupply my infantry and my HGMs and stuff. It didn't actually leave me with as much as I would have liked for my artillery, and having like 8 guns that just weren't being counter batteried the whole game, it was actually working out quite well, but it was also draining my supply really hard. So just looking to blind lols right now, get rid of that scout on the ground. He does have the Kiowa here, so it's not going to help too much at the moment, but definitely just one piece of the puzzle that we wanted to start getting rid of. And meanwhile on the right, some infantry have managed to push in here with some APCs and the armour. So the M113s move forwards with the M1 Abrams. My HGMs can't really help here. K.d.a Schützen are too low. And there's not really much I can do. I'm going to have to bring in a cluster Su-22 here in the bottom left. That's going to be my plan for taking out the M1A1s. This is on the very edge of the map. As long as I make sure that my plane evacs to the left, it shouldn't be under fire by enemy AA for very long. I think I messed up that one. Yeah, I did, yeah. I retargeted it basically too late. And I had to come around for another run, but it didn't get shot at, so I was quite happy to do that. MiG-21. Going to be going for the bombing strike behind because I believe that's whereabouts the enemy infantry would have been. But that did manage to take out both the armored vehicles, not the M1A1 though. Eagle comes in as well, shoots down the Su-22 in the meantime. That was unfortunate. Eagle's going to hang about though. Did already take 2 damage. But I'm going to be moving forwards my Mi-8TB and the Mi-2. Maybe these can help out. Maliotka P is an HGM, so might get the job done. But yeah, here comes the Eagle back again. Takes a shot, gets routed. Fortunately not able to really finish it off just yet. And yeah, my flat SFL on the left hand side died, so that probably would have killed it if it was still up. So I'm pretty weak on the front, as you can see, but a lot still invested in all of the supply to resupply these 122s. I also brought in supply for the Smirch. I probably shouldn't have, because they're not very good. I think the reason I was using the Smirch in this game was just for fun, honestly. It's sometimes just nice, you know, to see certain vehicles fire and the effects and stuff. Like, that's one thing that I actually really enjoy in WARNO, honestly. Anyway, mechanized rifles are starting to make a push on us. I move up my helicopters, they're going to be forced to fall back. They can't run across the open in the face of all of these rocket pods, it's just not going to end well for them. But this is another example of where you can just like right-click forwards and your helicopters will continue to fire their rockets. I noticed this unit further back, and I thought it'd probably be like a PVADS. I think I called it when I was playing. And yeah, it turned out to be just that. It's exactly the thing I don't want to see right now, because it will stun my helicopters and shoot them down quite rapidly if I let it on target. So we're going to fall back. Got more K.d.a Schützen to back up on the left side. I'm going to be consolidating here. Brought up a couple of Spetsnaz as well to help with the RPG-29. The RPG-29 does have the 21 penetration, so I was hoping that it would be enough to help deal with the M1A1s that I was having to deal with on that left-hand side. Like, that was the biggest problem. Now, I've split some of my artillery here, as you can see, between this forest and the right-hand side, because we have no eyes anymore on what is here. Jags also used to have a Recon squad just here that was helping us spot stuff, but yeah, unfortunately that died, so I'm kind of just having to guess at the moment, and I don't think I had corrected shot. I mean, honestly, when I'm trying to like guess where a unit is, not having corrected shot is probably better. So in this case, I think I ended up killing it off. I mean, once again, go back to the +1, but the +1 really not that fast. Currently aiming my Smirch at the Abrams. You can see the 2 damage there on the top armor, really not that good. MI8 looking for some rockets into the side here. Opponent's trying to like arty the Pioneer Führer with cluster. It's not really going to do too much, but the mortar might do some damage, so I do have to be a little bit careful. Yeah, thankfully the MI8TB there actually helped out a lot with those these armored cars. I guess they're just APCs, the M113s. Also, of course, the Spetsnaz have the RPG-29s. So, going to be trying to make a push. Got the SBW 152Ks to follow up the K.d.a Schützen, and the Spetsnaz currently leading the charge. But the mechanized rifles are also charging across the open now. So I'm going to have to deal with them. But we're going to get some counter battery in the meantime onto the mortars there, because I want them to stop firing at my Pioneer Führer. Now, a bit of a mistake here. I left my AKs on, so the Pioneer Führer in a bit of a nasty situation, forced to use the MiG-21 to bomb one of the mechanized rifles. That's going to go down. I bring up the Su-24 MP Seed aircraft as well. I do manage to shoot down the F-111 HE, but it did kill my command, so big engagements here. This Su-24 does go all the way around the back, but this thing turns like a truck. So it does end up getting shot down as I try and evac it behind their lines. So pretty nasty engagement for me. Lost both my infantry squads here, including that command. We're going to lose the sector. It goes +1 back to our opponents. But I am starting to make some ground over on the left-hand side, and my HGems have found their target onto the PVADs, and if the PVADs goes down, then it enables my helicopters to move back forwards again. So that was the next thing that I'm going to be trying to do. Like, now the PVADs is dead, these mechanized rifles in the open, I can kill with the Mi-8TB. Going to be trying to get eyes on them with the Mi-2 in the meantime. And we can see the HGem firing at us here once again. Truck's trying to run away. Oh, it's always fun to watch these jeeps do a runner. There's another one over there that got fired at. Those Dragon 2s. And Spetsnaz were falling back for the time being. I ended up finding the M1A1 here, but I have a bunch of these K.d.a Schützen. If I keep hitting this in the front armor, eventually it will die. I do like one damage per. I do want to kill off the mechanized rifle. I managed to do so. Get another hit into the Abrams, so that's down to 3 health now. The Spetsnaz are running forwards as quickly as they can to try and finish that off. Another Pioneer Führer already on the way to cancel out the advantage that our opponent has. But here comes a cluster bomber, and that's going to be able to clean me out pretty nicely here. Like the flat SFL coming under fire, the other one taking a lot of damage. Thankfully missed my supply, which was probably the most important thing, honestly. We do shoot down the F-111, so it wasn't too bad. But yeah, Spetsnaz moving up. Going to be engaging the mechanized rifle, is definitely going to do a lot of damage. This Pioneer Führer, really in a bad spot. Goes down to 1 health. I managed to reload it into the UAZ and drive down the road away from the mechanized rifle. It's like such a cheeky play. I just about managed to pull it off, and I'm going to try and get behind cover here so the mechanized rifles can't kill me with the HGM. So just driving behind the the building there. And mortar fire coming in again. But Mi-8TB quite happy to push that up now and try and counter that mechanized rifle. Yeah, really fun game this was. Artillery also coming in here. My Mi-8TB got way too close for comfort, but now I've got the artillery coming in. I'm quite happy to let that do the job. Got the SPW-152K is able to charge across as well. And the nice thing about these armored cars is at close range, again, the mechanized rifles can't use the HGMs. So I just need to get like right on top of the mechanized rifles with these SPW-152Ks, and I'm happy. But yeah, Pioneer Führer, move it back into the sector. Kind of counting on the fact that the mechanized rifles are dead here, because I can't really spot them very easily. The idea being that, yeah, the SPWs are going to go forwards and try and scout for me. And we'll hopefully be able to hold a position in this sector. A very sort of back and forth game so far. I have, for the most part, held on to Gregory, but having to use my artillery to move the enemy out of Arna has been something that has been pretty important. Got the cluster munitions coming down again. We've got HGMs flying out the tree lines. That's going to be like the mechanized rifles or the dragons. Unfortunately, the UAZ going to go down there. But my Pioneer Führer should be okay here under the cluster fire. Doesn't really have much HE capability. My lad just kind of hiding in the rubble. Quite literally. We did see, of course, the HGMs coming out of here, so just slamming that with artillery, trying to weaken them as much as possible. In the mid, in the meantime, looking to try and kill off the chaparrals with the Smirch. Pioneer Führer did end up going down, but managed to get one shot onto the chaparral. Also killed the supply, so the supply was a pretty big kill. Enemy artillery does kill my leader, so I'm going to have to bring up another one. But yeah, SPW-152K, having a good time against his mechanized rifles, doing a lot of damage. These machine guns can do a lot of work, and I'm going to be just driving up to it so it can't use the Dragon 2. Trouble is, I'm a bit low on ammo. 26 rounds remaining, really hoping I can get the job done, and with 8 rounds remaining, the SPW gets the kill. Alf is now moving up on the right. I was hoping to be able to help Jagd keep eyes on the enemy command so that we could continue to hit it with artillery. And this time I'm going to be bringing in 2 commands for the left-hand side. So I've got a standard UAZ, and I've also got the Pioneer Führer. I'm going to have the UAZ sit in the corner. We're going to have the Pioneer Führer go into one of these buildings once again. And that way, if one dies, we still have the other to work with. Now, as we come over the ridge here, I do bump into a few enemy forces. The Bradley and the M113. Unfortunately, my K.d.a shoots and getting killed very quickly. Meanwhile, 2 mechanized rifles did get onto the left-hand side, so the Spetsnaz taking a lot of damage. I really don't want to lose Spetsnaz. Spetsnaz are like my primary close-range AT options for dealing with his armor. So pretty important I keep those alive. Meanwhile, in the mid, Jagd kind of forced out of this position. A heavy armor push from Lols kind of forces him back. The Toad Cobra also coming forwards with the Bradley. Things really not great for us, but managed to at least push out the leader from the right-hand side, and my artillery actually being relatively effective, which was nice. Artillery in WARNO had been very lackluster for a long time, but with the corrected shot coming in, it definitely made towed artillery like these 122s a lot more viable. And in this game, I think it really kind of showed, particularly since this division usually struggles a lot more against something like the 3rd US. It was nice to have the heavy artillery option to attack them from range. But once again, Spetsnaz, K.d.a Schützen having trouble against the mechanized rifles. I've got 3 Urals on this left-hand side to resupply my infantry, by the way. I get the Pioneer Führer into position, get the UAZ into position on the very corner of the sector. And that's where I'm going to stay. Thankfully here, you can see there is like a slight hill. So these Bradleys can't actually see me. This terrain's really quite wavy in the hills. But the main thing I need to kill is the chaparrals. Like any AA, I take that out, and then my Mi-8TB is free to kill everything else. Like I can rocket the infantry, I can use the Malikas on the M2A1, M2A2 Bradleys, and they can't really do much to counter me. But on the right hand side, Aufklärer is going to end up going down, and that was unfortunate because it was spotting a lot of stuff further up, but it has allowed us to currently remove the command there, so that's good. Our chaparral is going to get wiped out. Now I'm going to be targeting the Bradleys, but quickly switch that to the M1A1 as it's putting pressure onto my K.d.a Schützen. See how quickly those heavy tanks can rip infantry at close range. It's really, really nasty. Artillery already coming into the Pioneer Führer, but I'm not too concerned because we do have the second command in play. Another aircraft going down the middle here though. Tow Cobra going to be able to get away on very low health, unfortunately. But it's good to see like Yagsword's starting to get some ground back towards the middle. Will give us information on those units. But artillery coming in hot there onto the M1A1. My K.d.a Schützen all went down though, and I'm going to be forced to fall back with my Ural with my flat SFL, just in case they continue to push on our position. But since the M1A1's low, they'd have to get some supply in here to fix it up, so I'm just trying to hit it currently with my artillery. M2A2 Bradley having a go at my UAZ. Somehow, it won the engagement against the Bradley, under fire from the HGM and the TOW-2. TOW-2 usually very accurate, managed to miss, and I managed to hit 2 of my HGMs. That works out very nicely. Another chaparral here under fire. Looking for that last shot. Chaparral goes down. Nice soft targets for my artillery to take care of, it's great. And being counter-batteried a little bit here. But next target, going to be under fire very shortly. Direct hits will kill my artillery, but at this point, it doesn't really matter to me if I lose my artillery, since we're actually pretty damn close to the end of the game. It's 2 minutes and 40 seconds left. We do have a +2, so definitely onto something. Pioneer Führer going to be coming under fire from the fire team Dragons. But the Mi-8TB is on standby with its rockets. Does manage to kill one of the Dragon squads. The Pioneer Führer gets back into cover. UAZ does get killed, with the Pioneer Führer still alive. Not too bad. Meanwhile, on the right-hand side, SU-22 came in with a cluster. And I was basically just trying to kill as many of the commanders as possible. I've also got my HGM Jeeps making a hero push here, but unfortunately are in range of the M1A1 HA, and that means they will not last too long. Only going to do 1 damage per hit in the front armor there, and they all get wiped out. It's a little bit of a HGM play at the end. Artillery does take out the last of the fire teams. And now I'm going to be committing an MiG-23 to try and shoot down this Apache. Now they have made it lately so that planes are not as good at shooting down enemy helicopters. They can't really one-pass 10 health helicopters as much anymore. So I'm going to bring in a second one here. This one's going to go for the Apache behind that I saw. That one left on 5 health, so you can see it was even worse this time around. I did see that the MiG-23 took damage, but I decided it would be worth committing to the Apaches, so that's what I kind of planned to do, because otherwise the Apaches are going to come over here and kill off my Pioneer Führer, and I didn't really have much AA in play. Only these OSA AKMs They're very close to these arrow rifles, so he could very easily try and put pressure on me there. I do manage to kill one of the chaparrals in the mid with the artillery, so that was good. Now looking to take out a couple more, and then like Su-22s can come in with the cluster and try and take out the M1s. That's basically what I was trying to do overall. But only 30 seconds left. It's just a matter of kind of trying to hold on to this +1 at this point. Really looking for just a draw in this game, because if we can continue to get close to the same amount of points, then it will end up being a draw. A cluster coming in there. Managed to take out the M1A1. Unfortunately, my aircraft gets shot down. Seed not really finding anything, gets hit by the chaparral once. Gonna fly right over the Stinger. And, well, just before that aircraft gets hit, the game ends and it's a draw. We managed to get there. 5,340 kills to 4,290 losses. Incredibly close kills and losses between me and Jagd. It was incredibly close. Look at that, almost identical. But yeah, really, really fun game for sure. On that left side, I think I did pretty well to kind of hold on to that objective for quite a decent amount of time. Especially considering it was like K.d.a Bezirk Erfurt against third. The K.d.a really suffer against heavy tanks. And you kind of got to work out these creative ways to kill them. But it was a really fun game. And I always like using those MI8s to try and clean up a lot of infantry. Particularly when I can use the minigun or like the Gatling gun on the infantry there. It's great stuff. But yeah, the flat SFLs early on, demolishing Black Hawks, good fun. MiG-21s, really, really important. Really nice run when it bombed the LRS and then killed the Kiowa afterwards. That was super good, because it pretty much pays itself off immediately. The 122 mils did get quite a lot of kills throughout, so killing like a command here, and then the Chaparral, and then the M282 Bradley, killing like the LRS and the scouts, another command going down there, another Chaparral. My cluster did manage to kill an M1A1. Again, this is the MT cleaning up all of the aero rifles. Spetsnaz doing their job killing the M1A1 for us and all of these APCs. Flat SFL getting some cheeky kills in there. Another M122 getting the Chaparral kills. Now the main thing with the Chaparrals, like, it doesn't look like they got that many kills considering how long I had them in the game, but they were definitely weakening like a lot of the enemy infantry throughout. You got to bear in mind. And yeah, when I started killing all these Chaparrals, definitely weakened their AA not a lot, and that's a lot of points that they got to try and reinvest into more AA to make up for the losses. So it did definitely start paying off quite a bit. But at the end of the day, you got to invest heavily into artillery still to make it worth it. And it does take a decent amount of time to pay itself back. And I guess that's the issue, right? So depending on how long your games are, that will be there'll be different outcomes. Anyway, draw after 40 minutes. Really fun game. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.